Hello, my name is Jeff Cobb, and this is On the Line. This is a public interview, actually a debate forum that we're running here through Radnor Studio 21 in the suburbs of Philadelphia. My name again, Jeff Cobb. I am the news editor of Mainline Life newspaper, but this is a separate entity. What we're going to have today is a discussion between a very hot issue, an issue that perhaps doesn't get enough coverage in the media, and perhaps it does. That'll be discussed. But I am going to have two Democrats today discuss the issue of whether or not it's a good idea to impeach the President and the Vice President of the United States. With me today I have Ms. Jane Dugdale of Bryn Mawr, who is an advocate. As you can see from her little lapel pin, she represents the Impeach Bush contingency. She has been running a honk for impeachment campaign and is a very adamant and eloquent local speaker, organizing peace initiatives, as well as a campaign against the President and Vice President. To oppose her in a collegial manner will be the chair of the Radnor Democrats, Mr. Bruce Bikin. He's been on the show, various shows here through Radnor several times, and he should be of very good interest to you folks, because these people are actually on the same side of the team. They're both Democrats, and Mr. Bikin represents, if I could say so, the opinion of the Democrats why impeachment is not moving forward in this country. There is a grassroots movement to move forward impeachment. But without further ado, I would like to turn this over to Ms. Dugdale, and I believe you have a prepared statement you'd like to start with, and you two can have the conversation from here. Thank you.
Oh, good. Thank you, Jeff. The constitutional democracy that our forefathers designed down the road in Philadelphia, and for which they endured the hardships of a winter at Valley Forge, is based on the critical principle of co-equal branches of government. In other words, the Congress, the executive, and the judiciary, according to our Constitution, have equal power to check each other. This democratic system of checks and balances has been admired and copied the world over. Every elected official in our nation, upon taking office, takes an oath to defend the Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic. Recently, I attended the swearing in of our newest Radnor Township Commissioner, John Fisher, and I noticed that his oath was to defend the Constitution of the United States against enemies, foreign and domestic. The only thing our elected officials swear to defend is the Constitution. Their primary job, then, is to defend the system of government described in our Constitution. The situation we find ourselves in today with the administration of Cheney-Bush is the very dangerous one of the executive usurping powers that the Constitution explicitly has given to other branches, and establishing the primacy of the executive over the other branches. The administration thumbs its nose at Congress in a myriad of ways and packs the judiciary with cronies who will do its bidding. It promotes its unitary executive theory, in which the executive is essentially above the law, accountable to no one. Our forefathers saw this situation, an executive abusing its power, as the gravest danger to democracy, and they provided a remedy for accountability in the Constitution, the remedy of impeachment. They wrote about it in several different places in the Constitution. The Constitution says, in summary, that elected officials shall be impeached and removed from office for high crimes and misdemeanors. It's a two-step process. Impeachment, or indictment, is the first, the pre-trial step, and is wholly a process of the House of Representatives. Impeachment hearings are the essential component of this step. Removal from office is the trial step and is wholly a process of the Senate. Any discussion of impeachment, it seems to me, needs to focus on two questions. Number one, has this administration committed the high crimes and misdemeanors that the Constitution sets as the standard for impeachment? My answer is yes, and I believe the American people need to know what these high crimes and misdemeanors are. Impeachment hearings will inform the nation of the abuses of this administration and of the danger that it poses to our democratic system. The articles of impeachment so far submitted are against Cheney. Number 2, the second question, if impeachment offenses have been committed, is it wise to pursue this process of impeachment at this time? Again, my answer is yes. The most important job our elected officials have is to defend our Constitution, our system of government. The American people are dying and crying out for leadership that will stand up to the abuses perpetrated by this administration. So I want to ask Bruce, are these the 2 questions that you think we should talk about?
Well, I think they're certainly fair questions, and I think they're questions that you need to examine in order to get a fair discussion. But I think that there's another question, and that's, what resources are you going to commit to this process? What are you willing to allow to occur in order to come to this process and get this process to go to conclusion? The impeachment of a president or a vice president, as we have seen, most of us have in our lifetime, is neither quick nor particularly easy to deal with in terms of the amount of time, the amount of energy that both the Congress and the newspapers and the government required just because it becomes the focal point of everything. And while I certainly wouldn't have any serious doubts that you could find impeachable offenses in the behaviors of both the president and vice president, I think as a practical matter it just is not something that at this particular time we should be involving ourselves in.
Would you be willing to talk first, though, about the impeachable offenses that probably have been committed?
Sure.
I have a list here of 11 that I think makes it clear that Cheney is certainly impeachable, and since the motion that is before Congress is against Cheney, I'd love to make these public. I think one of the best things that Jeff has done in giving us this forum is that we have a chance to let the public know what these offenses are, because they're not really focused on very much. I've made a little mnemonic of SSSS, LLOOPTT, and that's how I remember them. The first S is that Cheney has refused to reply to subpoenas. This was actually the main offense that convinced Nixon's Congress that he had to be impeached. The second is the signing statements that Cheney has encouraged the president to use. Cheney is the chief author of the so-called unitary executive theory, in which he says that it's fine for the president to add on a little bit after a law to say which parts of the law he's going to enforce. And I think people need to be reminded that the Constitution says that the president's job is to enforce the laws. It's Congress's job to write the laws.
Just so people understand,
Yeah.
I believe the signing statements are, the president has written about 750 signing
Absolutely.
statements,
Yes.
whereby he hasn't vetoed anything. If a so-called, according to the Democrats, good law comes by, it doesn't go anywhere, but he'll just allow it to go forward, but then he'll, after the fact, this is correct, choose what he wishes to execute.
Absolutely.
And therefore he usurps the powers of other branches of the government. Therefore,
to make the laws.
Is he acting as a dictator in this capacity?
Well, that's more or less what a dictator does, is to choose which laws he or she wants to enforce.